Well, I was incarcerated under a wonder life, a term they called for wonder life, where I could have done 1 year and been released. I've done 10. That's more time than anybody in the state has ever done on a wonder life.
So, Eazi back again, yeah. And this is something they're gonna start. Well, this is something that I'm gonna bring to my channel. Some different type of education, you know, because Eazi channel, regardless on all aspects of what I do, is in some form of education, you know. So this kind of idea or concept that I thought would be helpful for my channel to grow and have a little bit of a bigger perspective on reality, you know. So this is the reason why I'm gonna do this video today, the first, you know, and we're gonna bring a perspective, you know, from all around the world, and it's all gonna contribute to the movement or the month, the great month that's coming up, the month I'm gonna release this video on. You know, I'm not gonna expose it now for the people that's watching it on the live, yeah. But this month that's coming up is gonna be very powerful, you know, especially when it comes to the information, you know, the black community, you know, we're gonna just delve in a little bit deep. But I'm gonna be talking about a book that I read, you know. I talk about 20 days, 20 something days, you know, highlight a lot, you know. And this is a book of the brother George Jackson, yeah. This is the first book I bought, you know, and I want to give you my perspective on this book. So this is my new type of content that I'm going to bring to my channel, where I will buy educational type of books or revolutionary type of book. I give you my perspective on those books, you know. So as I purchased this book, which is called The Prison Letters of George Jackson, the Soledad Brothers, yeah, this is going to be the first breakdown, first content of a review of books that I buy and read, yeah. There's going to be many more in store. But the reason why I choose to do it on this brother here, because even fumbling on my research on this brother, he kind of drew me in, because the story and the background of his life experience was relatable in certain ways, and it was like powerful, most importantly, you know. And the thing is, when it comes to brothers like these and many more, so it's not brothers like, it ain't just this brother here, you know, there's many more brothers that go unnoticed, yeah. And the reason why this story is a little bit different than the mainstream, you know, because we all know the Marvin Garvey struggle, we got the Malcolm X, we even got the Black Panther struggle, you know. But this man's struggle was behind the penal system, yeah, the prison system. And unless you actually experience in one shape or form of that type of world, it's very enlightening when you have a perspective in those type of worlds, you know, especially in text or any type of information, you know. So that's why I think that I embraced this brother as soon as I fumbled on the research about him, and his story is deep. So anyone that are interested in books that's gonna keep you reading with wanting to read more, this brother, this book is the book to buy, you know, because you know how you got books like this, you know, you get past a certain part of the book and it starts to get boring. This brother's book is very, very entertaining by keeping your brain stimulated, you know. So I'm gonna give you my perspective on this book, and I'm gonna give you my understanding of this character in general, you know. So it's gonna be quotes. I'm gonna be reading paragraphs of exactly what he said. So, you know, cause like I empathize, well, what I will say again or empathize now is the fact that a lot of people miss this side of reality, where it's which is the penal system, prison. You know, when people get locked down, when people, you know, get the sentence, it's like they're separated from the outside reality, you know. It's a whole nother atmosphere, whole nother surroundings that you have to adapt to, you know. And this is where you have no control, you know, you get it. You have no control. You have to, you have a set regime that you have to live by, wake up by. Your doors get open at a certain time in the morning. You ever have to go social, you have to go exercise, and etc. This is, you know, so, and you have to strip shirts. Yeah, you get, you know, humiliated, you know, having other man strip shirts you, you know, get violated in certain other ways, you know. So it's a little bit of a powerful story. So I'm gonna go straight into it. But before I go straight into his book, I want to enlighten you with the information on this book that I haven't read yet, but his preference kind of breaks down the story, you know. So it's not specifically in every scenario, but it just gives you a overlook of his story. Yeah. So I'm gonna read his preference of this book here, for you to have a general understanding of what type of life that had me intrigued and had me reading his text. Yeah. So we're gonna go straight on it. Yeah. This is a book. If you're interested, go buy it. You can buy it on Amazon. You can get it on eBay, which I got it from. You know. So I just want to just give you an enlightenment of how life was. Yeah. So for George Jackson, he was like a young brother that was, you know, living in the life of how many of us not wealthy, you know. So he must have got influenced by, you know, bad experiences in a way where he thought that he has to make money any means necessary, you know. So he decided to be out on the rob, you know. So that's the life that he picked up from the early age. So let me just make sure I start off with what he's saying, yeah. Got highlighted a few, but it might not be the start. So okay, let me start off this way, yeah. So a lot of revolutionary, different type of revolutionary, a lot of the youth turns into a form of rebellious, you know. So that's why it's so important, in my opinion, to educate the youth. Yeah, the youth that's out there running wild, the youth that's out there carrying these knives, the youth that's out there fighting against each other, whatever the case may be, you know, going out there finding enemies to make money, is what you called, or what I called, a form of rebellion, you know, rebellious. So these youths are rebellious. They're rebellious about something, either it's family, or it's the government, or society. Something has neglect them in a way where they feel it's necessary to act out. So with my understanding, through my experiences, we have to dissect exactly what's going on around them, you know, either within the family or within the system or with the community. There's something that's triggering off this type of rebellious behavior, yeah? Not saying that all rebellion is bad. Rebellion for me, it shows a thrive of warrior sense, you know, especially in the males, yeah? We're gonna talk a little bit more about that because I have an opinion. We're gonna talk about George Jackson's opinion about how males or young men, man-child, as he would call it, should be raised in a way. But then again, this is where the father figure needs to be present so he can implement these type of behavior, this type of mindset, this type of discipline, you know. So his ideas is very relatable, but because of the loss of absence in fathers, this is the main reason why we have a little bit of chaos within our community, especially when it comes to these youths running wild, you know, not even respecting their mom. So we're gonna go into deep about that. This conversation is gonna be long and it's gonna be deep, you know. So stay with me if you're willing to learn, you know. So we're talking about, okay, so this is a quote, or this is part of the book, you know. Like I said, everything is from this book that I'm going to be reading. You can go buy this book and cross-reference everything I'm saying, see what it's saying. So basically, I'm going to read this paragraph. It says that I've been a rebellion all my life, he wrote in one of his letters. For a young man growing up in the ghetto, the first rebellion is always crime. George's first experience with America's law was at the age of 14 when he was arrested in Chicago for stealing a purse, yeah? And from then on, his life was a constant succession of arrests, juvenile homes, parole, and many more. At the age of 18, he was convicted for stealing $70 from a gas station, yeah? And this is where his lawyer promised him that he would make a deal with the DA if George confessed to second-degree robbery. He told George it was his only chance because of his record, so they bamboozled him, you know. And this is and you know, this is always educational purposes. This type of experiences, it happens, you know. Now you get it. This type of experience happened to you get it. So knowing the duty solicitor capping my boy, showing me that, bro, this solicitor is about to give me some time because this solicitor is telling me that, boom, they got me bound to rights, you know. Bound to rights, court in action, basically. And he's telling me to plead for something that he ain't, yeah. So, and then my boy had to check me, like, and his solicitor checked me as well, like, bro, why you pleading guilty for something that you know. So, and then, long story short, we know how the penal system or the solicitor system, especially when it comes to duty solicitor, they all work under the realm of the courts. So they're not out for your benefit. They will get more money if you're found guilty for whatever, yeah? So that's obviously what happened in George Jackson's case, yeah? So he was told that he would have the chance. He was told that because of his record, don't put the court to the expense of a trial. This is a quote. Don't put the court to the expense of a trial, and they would give you county time. So he's telling him, don't go trial, because they'll give you county time. Instead, plead plead guilty, and you get given a indeterminate sentence for 1 year to life. Yeah. So this is a quote of what was said, and basically he took that 1 to life. So 1 year good behavior, you know, good behavior, and we're talking about the 1960s. Yeah, the 1960s. So you know how deep them times would have been, you know. So as a young man child, 18, he took that sentence. And it goes on to say, the first time I was put in prison, it was just like dying. Just to exist at all costs for some very heavy psychotic adjustments. Being captured was the first fear, first of my fear. It may have been an requirement characteristic built up over the centuries of black bondage. The turning point in his life came when he met certain brothers here, Mark, Lenny, Trotsky, Engels, and Mayo. Some of these members are part of the Black Panther Party, yeah? So he bucked up with members of the Black Panther Party while I was in there, or the members that would then join the Black Panther Party, yeah? So, and they redeemed me. So he bucked up with a couple of brothers that was, you know, that are cool, you get me? So for the first 4 years, I studied nothing but economics and military ideas. Yeah, I met the Black Guerrillas, George Big Jake Lewis, and the James Carr, W.C. Norval, Bill Christmas, and Tony Gibson. Yeah, and many more. We attempted to transform the black criminal mentality into the revolutionary mentality. So bing bang. So this is what when he bucked up with the brothers in there, you know, this is what their mindset was, you know, and that's very important. The criminal mentality into black revolutionary consciousness, yeah. So we get, you know, as the drive of the youth, teaching the youth, it's about transforming the mentality, you know. And like I said, rebellion is the first taster of revolutionary, you know. So already you have a child that's rebellious. There must be a reason why he's rebellious. You know, we have to just take time with the brother, you know, if we can, and we reason with the brother, you know, find out what's the pain that he's hiding, you know, what the situation that he's living in, because we all go through something that we want to keep to ourselves, because hiding trauma for some reason makes us more manly in a shape or form, you know. I will give you my personal experiences of what made me a rebellion, yeah, my first experience. And I would, yeah, no, Eazi is back to reality. So my first rebellious incident were a court case where my mum and my dad was basically fighting for custody, and it was me and my brother. My brother, I think the solicitor at the time, I don't know how old I was, probably about 7, 8, 9, I don't know. No, young, not 8, 9, I would say 7, 6, I don't know. But basically, the solicitor obviously interviewed my brother and my sister, asking them, who would you rather stay with, you know, like mom or dad. That was the question that I can remember, yeah, but that was the main question that actually made me think, boy, this system is mad, fucked, you get it? So obviously my sister, my bro was like, yeah, I want to stay with Mumsy because we raised up with Mumsy, who we know is Mumsy, you know, but we still want to see Dad. You get it? So they must have said, I want to stay with Mum. I must have said, I want to stay with Mum, but I want to see Dad. Yeah, and they basically twisted my words, brother. They must have said that I said the opposite, you know, that I wanted to be with my dad, yeah, which no way I would have said, you know, you get it, and it kind of had my mum in tears and etc, you know, and even up to 2023 today, bruv, you got police that's separating young child from their mother for a bus ticket, brother. You get it? So that is mad. And you wonder why the black youths are rebellious. You wonder why they're like, fuck the system. You get it? So that type of shit they play, man. That's the type of shit they fucking play. So that's real, man. So salute to that young boy. That young boy is gonna remember that to his dead boy. The same way I remember that. I don't even know how old I was. Probably 6, probably even younger. And I can remember that today. I can remember the woman that even come and tried to talk to me nicely, that, and they have my mum on tears, yeah. So we're gonna get into that, you know, because this is reality. So obviously every aspect I'm gonna break down this book. I'm gonna talk about reality that I experienced or what's going on right now today, you know. Like I said, the separation of the young child with the mother today for a bus ticket that I heard she paid for, and they want to put that trauma, it's out there now, you know. It's disgusting, bro. You know, that's why I'm saying we need to just, like, revolution means some political, social, institutional change, but we need to be on it. First form is the youth, but the rebellious youth are the people that's gonna make that change, that's gonna sacrifice a lot. But they're already sacrificing a lot for nothing, blood. They're sacrificing their life for what? Postcode, certain man them that are gonna turn fake, turn snake, or turn enemies in the future. So we really know that there's heart out there. Youth will stand there and get a knife in their chest, bro. You know, so never ever think that the youth, the rebellious youth, they need guidance, they need strong men, men, that's what they need. You know, because we're gonna talk about how we love the woman, we love the woman, but there's only so much you can do or by yourself, especially for the men. You know, and I know it could scare a lot of women. The what I'm gonna say and what George Jackson I'm gonna quote off, you know. So we're gonna go a little bit more. So the criminal mentality needs to change to a revolutionary mentality. Once you start loving yourself, knowing about yourself, you're gonna start respecting yourself, and then from there you know what movement that you need to make to better yourself and better your community. This ain't a subjective concept, this is about the objective. I never look at things when I talk, I don't have to be nice, yeah, and I don't have to be nice and then think that life is nice. I can be living nice, but if I see my brothers or the community in shithole, then we're not living nice. I'm not living nice. Everyone's so in a subjective minefield because you're making some pee and then you got your yard and everything. You're like, fuck everyone else. Nah, bro, like, it's mad, it's crazy, bro. You know, it comes too far for us to be subjective in our thinking process, bro. Everything has to be objective. If one win, we all win. We all bring each other up. You know, so let's carry on. So he wasn't alone in his discovery. At the same time, other prisoners were just beginning to discover. Mark and Fanon and Mano, yeah, which is members of the Black Panther Party. Not these members, Black Panther Party might not have been established at that point, but these are like revolutionary brothers that was in pen, laying it down, yeah, who provide them with a new way of regarding themselves and their struggle. You know, a different outlook. And this is how important brothers like George Jackson in the penal system was. And then we're going to talk about how the institutions see people that are about self-love, self-determination, and self self-improvement, you know. So we're gonna talk more. Everything's here. That's what I'm trying to say. This is the reason why I need to do this, and it's gonna be a couple hours long. I know, because I'm gonna break down every sector. Yeah. So, like I said, a new standard of moral judgment. He's setting a new standard for the moral judgment. Revolutionary. Yeah. I have been a rebellion all my life. I just didn't know it. The social insight of Mark and others made it possible for them to have sense of themselves as members of the human community, members of a revolutionary brotherhood. That's it. Talk about the penal system right now in this paragraph, yeah. In the prison, yeah, committing to revolutionary has a special meaning and a special price. To identify as a revolutionary by the prison authority means an almost impermanent denial of parole, separating from the other prisoner, solitary confinement, usually in a maximum security wing of the prison, transfer from one prison to another, beatings, bad food. It all brings down on you the entire pontiff and repossesses force of a completely totalitarian system. Yeah. Inside prison, George practiced a special type of devotion and love. When the convicts talked about him, they often used the term "for real." Many inmates murder mouth and sell wolf tickets. They do a lot of heavy talking. But when it comes down to the point of action, they disappear. George, however, was as good as his word. Whenever he made a statement of some kind, it was followed by action. If you was a victim of a racial attack inside prison, there was a good chance that he would turn up and fighting for you at your side. Most of his offenses inside the prison were the reason why he spent, well, let me just read it. Most of his offenses inside prison, the reason why he was forced to spend over 7 years in various forms of solitary confinements. Solitary confinements in England term is the block, yeah, including the infamous strip cell in Soledad Owing. The reason why he was never paroled involved his defense of the other inmates. What made him particularly dangerous to a prison authority was this enormous talent as a organizer. Anyone that can organize is a threat, you know, threat. And they see that in George Jackson, yeah. So we carry on. We have got to be together. We have got to be in a position to tell the pigs that if he doesn't serve the food when it's warm and pass out the soaring powder on time, everybody on the tail wing, yeah, is going to throw something at him. Then things will change and life will be easier. You don't get the kind of unity when you're fighting with each other. I'm always telling my brothers that some of those whites are willing to work with us against the pigs. All they got to do is stop talking honky. Obviously, stop talking racism, you get it? When the race starts fighting, all you have is one manic group against another. That's just what the pig wants, yeah? So it's mad. Crazy. Penal system, yeah? Yeah, so you know it goes in deep. So you know how it goes. This is just, you know, the preference of this book, yeah. We're gonna go in. Remember, this gonna be like probably gonna be parts, because this, even breaking down this introduction, is probably a episode. So we're gonna go straight to a highlight, yeah. So unless you know what I mean, you have to buy the book if you wanna read it all. You get it easy. You can read it. I'm gonna read it mainly what I highlighted. You get it easy. So you go into it, yeah. So again, George, obviously, let me read. He paid heavy price for his activities. When he paid heavy price for his activities, when the prison couldn't break him through solitary confinement, they would attempt to have him killed by other inmates. They were forced to frame him. They were forced to frame him or me and set me up for the final kill. The words was out among the white convicts. Yeah, get Jackson. It would do us some good. One remarks that there had been 20 setups on his life inside prison. It got so that when he left his cell, he was ready to parry an attack. Peak. That's what I'm trying to say. In the penal system, ain't no joke, ain't nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. And you know how the man them get down in there, homemade shanks, a bowl of kettle, have your kettle on standby, you know, put some bloody sugar or salt in it. You know, things like that have to be on standby when you're in there, boy, behind the gates, bruv. So it's mad. You know, a lot of man that has gone through that penal system and probably even got into a lot of drama in there, they should know the routine of how it gets when this beef is on, you know. Every day you have to wake up because your cell just gets pushed wide open first thing in the morning, so you can't really sleep, you know. Mad.
Letters to my family, my mother, my father, sisters, my brother, Jonathan. They were intended to familiarize them with the situation I was faced with here. Of course, here in prison, we see the repression, the exploitation, the victimization of lower class.
Yeah, they do crazy shit. Govs over here, that's what we call them, you know. They call them pigs back in those days, you know. But I'll give you one story. This is how crazy it can get. This is in like Pennaville, on the G wings, Gaza wing. Like I said, you can't really rest, you can't sleep. Doors get open up. I remember one time now, probably about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, after bang up, after food and everything. Man's hear some steps. I'm thinking, what's going on here? This is where I think one of my cellmates must have left for court, probably got bail and whatnot, you know. But I was bang up, late night though. I think it was like 8 or 9, I can't remember what time it was. I was relaxing in my cell, waiting for hopefully, well, assuming that a new inmate's gonna turn up in the morning. You get it? But I'm hearing some footsteps like late at night. I'm thinking, what the fuck's going on, yeah? And this is how the govs play up. This is UK, you know, they real. Bro, I'm in my bed, thinking that they're gonna walk past, open the flap and see man in, because that's what they do. They go around the wing, open, see everyone's up, probably switch on the light, you know, count the members in the cell. I'm only hearing the door open, the key open, and my man get pushed in the cell. Get kicked in the cell, bro. Yeah. Bro, there was like some fiend or something, I don't know what going for him, boy, but he was agitated, boy. Like, come in the wing, the gov shut the door, mate. Time I didn't even get off the bed, the man's in my cell now, yeah. Door shut, bam. The fuck's going on here? Jumped off the bed, bam. What's going on? This guy was like, he started moving. man must be on some crackhead or something, blood. But this guy was quite big as well, yeah. So I'm thinking, what the fuck's going on there, blood? So obviously, man got on my fighting stance, but the guy went on it. He was just like agitated, talking about he need his meds. Meds is obviously the thing that can calm him down from the crack thing, you know what I mean? The food that he's been smoking outside. So they give him meds, a cup of drink that they drink to calm down. And man asked me, like, oh, do you smoke? And I was like, nah, bro. Like, this man is agitated, man, moving, shaking like he's scratching, bro. And then man's like, ah, I shouldn't be in here. I shouldn't be in here, yeah? I'm thinking, yeah, you got that fucking right, yeah? The man must have just pulled out, I don't know where he put it at, but he had a razor blade, yeah? Pulled out his razor blade, yeah? Talking about he's gonna cut himself. I'm like, bruh. This is the middle of the night, blood. It's like 9 o'clock. This guy's agitated, bro. I'm like, bruh. This man talking about cutting himself, blood. He's like, bro, I shouldn't be there. I shouldn't be there. I'm like, bro, I'm trying to calm him down. Like, bro, slow down, fam. He's like, yeah, nah, I need to cut myself. Can't be in there. I'm like, bro, went to the door, blood. Back door, the door. Bah, 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 bah. Gov. Calling the gov. Banging on the gov. Bruv, you don't hear nothing, bruv. So imagine this, yeah. If this guy was off his, and man started have to start swinging up with his crackhead, yeah. Man had a razor blade, yeah. You know, cause one thing you don't want in pen as well. You don't want a buck 50 right in your face, like that's the last thing you want to come out of jail with, you know. The last thing, you know, cause you know get associated with snitch or wagwan, but boy, that's the last thing you want to make sure you don't come out of pen with, like the buck 50 right in your face. You get it? So, but I have to move smooth now, because the guy is not up. He's just a guy that's fucking agitated or crack, you get it? But I have to calm him down and say, nah, blood, don't worry, you will be at it. I'm banging the door with my back, blood. Bah, bah, bah. 20 minutes, bro. Banging the door, probably half an hour. Man's there, he's in his bed now, like he's sitting down. I'm banging the door. This govs come, and they're laughing, brother. This cunt gov come back smiling, bro. Like, what the fuck? As soon as the door opened, bro, like, my man got the fuck out, yeah? And I was like, I kind of blacked out on the gov, like, the gov just had a cheek to laugh, like it's a game, fam. It's crazy. You know, this is UK, bro. You know what I mean? And this is not that long ago, you get it? So you can just imagine how their setups will be, bro. It's peak. The gov was laughing, bro. You know, and really, to tell you the truth, it should have been a little bit of a kickoff, but I was just glad that the fucking cracker was out the cell, blood, to tell you the truth. So, bam. But that's the type of snaky games that govs can do to provoke or cause an incident to happen. So you can imagine America jails, like, you know what I mean? And like I said, the gov caught me off guard. I was in a top bunk, just chilling, and the door just got sprung open. Man get dashed in my cell, and now I'm left with him. You get it? My man was off some next hard food, trying to calm him down. Man got a razor blade that he pulled out his waist, talking about he's gonna cut himself. So it was peak. I'm like, bro, if I'm fighting the blade, you know, I'm gonna get some type of cut. You get it? Not trying to say man will have to, but man just trying to blade the shark. You know what I mean? Cut artery, I'm bleeding out. It ain't a game, you know. So going a little bit more, man. This is the type of fucking fuckery that the govs and all that try to play with inside pen, try to traumatize you, try to break you, you know, catch you when you're sleeping, but open yourself, shock a cracker in there, but mad, you did it. So don't know where it was that. So like, yeah, like I was saying, that he paid a heavy price, you know, for being about the course, you know. And like I said, yeah, no, as we go on, yeah. So on January the 13th, 1970, yeah, a new exercise yard was opening in the maximum security wing of Soledad prison. Yeah, what happened was 8 whites, and this is what the book says, but there was other sources that said 10 whites and 7 blacks, but this one said 8 against 7. Yeah, but in those type of systems, they know that you don't put 2 different types of races on an exercise yard. The racism is high in there. So you already know it's a setup from there, from get-go, you get it. So But as the girls play the game, they put 8 against 7. So this book says, other sources says 10 against 7, and they were skin shirts and sent out onto the yard. Predictably, obviously, a fight broke out between the whites and the blacks. Without any warning, a tower guard who had a reputation as a crack shot began fire. He fired 4 times and 3 black inmates were killed. With that, it's crazy. I could look, 8 whites, 7 blacks, and somehow 3 blacks were murdered. That's what you call Mazaline, yeah. So when we, you know, that
we have the Ku Klux Klan and the Black Panthers who would like to get at each other's throat and who use every opportunity to inflame racial tensions.
Well, we have different groups in the institutions such as Nazis, Black Panthers.
Nazis? What are they?
Well, they're just a group of fellows. Now, I don't know, some of them are pretty good people that I have to deal with. Now, whether you want to call them radicals or not, I don't know, but being a Nazi.
So, let me carry on. He fired 4 shots and 3 of them hit the black inmates and were killed. 1 white prison officer was wounded. No, one white got shot in the groin and survived. The rest of the black survivors claim that one of the wounded men bled to death on the concrete. So they could have saved him, but they left him to bleed to death. 3 days later, in Monterey County grand jury found that the killings were justifiable homicide. So fight broke out on the yard, 4 shots got blamed at, you know, 3 black men dead, 1 white man gets shot in his groin, 3 men died, and the death was justified by the penal system, yeah? And that was, they're saying, less than half an hour, the verdict was announced on the prison radio. Less than half an hour, a verdict was announced on the prison radio. A white guard, not the guard that fired the shots, was found beaten to death. So that's obviously the retaliation of the 3 black inmates that got killed in that fight, yeah. Something going on in the wing, you know. So, and then all the convicts in the wing was obviously where the killing took place was isolated. And on February the 28th, Fleeta Drumgo, John Clutchett, and George Jackson was formally charged with murder. The prison authorities accused George because, in their words, he was the only one who could have done it. With their total power over the inmate population, the power of parole, solitary confinement, the power of life and death.
Was the incident for which you're charged now, was it a revolutionary act on your part?
You asking me to confess to something?
Unless you want to, did you kill the man?
Look, one of the most important elements of guerrilla warfare is to maintain secrecy. I've killed nobody until it's been proven, and they'll never be able to prove anything like that.
They were certain that they could get the kind of testimony they needed when the trial came. Yeah, so the brothers, formerly known as the Soledad brothers, was accused of the murder of a prison gov half an hour after the killing of 3 black convicts, and straight after the killing was a justifiable killing. a gov got killed. Yeah, so that's what happened. It goes on to say, so that's like part of that story. That's the beginning part of that story. And this is where his young brother starts to get involved now. So let me just give a little breakdown about his little brother now, yeah? So while George, at the age of 18, got convicted and he was made to sit down to 1 to life, he's got his little brother growing up at that outside world, you know. His little brother obviously admiring, looking up to, you know, visiting him, seeing that his older brother's in the penal system, fighting injustice, you know. So obviously he's gonna pick up, he's gonna influence, he's gonna get influence, and he's gonna try to do as much as he can. Brotherly love, that's expected, you see it. So a young brother called Jonathan, which is very important to the story as well. Young brother Jonathan, you know, man-child, as he's called by George, you know, young man-child. He's growing up seeing that his brother's incarcerated for something like $70, and he's got 1 to life, where he should have served about 1 year and out. He did probably 8 years in solitary confinement, and he's getting denied every chance he gets at parole, yeah? So like I said, like it reads, George and Jonathan will get off to one side of the visiting room and starts whispering together. But what went on between them is probably expected in the book. At the time, Jonathan was 16 and had an extraordinary insight into the nature of guerrilla warfare. So obviously he's been studying. Yeah, some of the letters, George was later to refer Jonathan as his alter ego. So after obviously reading more, after George was accused of the murder in the 16th of January, Jonathan began to get his face taste of America's justice. Get it? Yeah, another highlight. He's just reading all the highlights, yeah? So, this is Jonathan, his brother, wrote himself, yeah? So this is a quote from Jonathan, little brother, man-child. Very important quotation, that's what I'm saying. Very important paragraph, yeah? Like I explained on a quick brief on exactly how George was raised, in the sense of knowing that his brother's in the penal system, should have done 1 year, should have been out, but yet he's in there for 7 to 10 years, you know, fighting all these stories that George is probably obviously writing him and telling him about, you know, the injustice environment that the penal system has put him in, you know. So Jonathan wrote himself, "People have said that I'm obsessed with my brother's case and the moment and the movement in general. A person that was close to me once said that my life was too wrapped up in my brother's case and that I wasn't cheerful enough for he. It's true, I don't laugh very much anymore and have but one question to ask all you people and people that think like you. What would you do if that was your brother?"
I think I would be the first to know if there was. I'm saying that there was no conspiracy, that Jonathan, a 17-year-old man-child, was working according to the dictates of his own mind. In fact, I'm convinced that everybody around him was making a tremendous effort to clip his wings, slow him down. I think most people saw that thing building in him. The loss of confidence, loss of faith in the processes that were going on, the court appearances and the Selena's, and the way we were being treated, I tried not to emphasize the foul treatment when he was around. But
well, it seems to you then that this is something that it took a long time for Jonathan to come to the point he reached last Friday.
it built over a period of time. It built up over a period of time. Seeing the processes there in Salinas, Campbell, and Brazil, I think enough to shatter anybody's faith.
That's mad. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna go into a little bit more, and we're gonna talk. Definitely gonna talk. So what happened in August the 7th, 1971? Jonathan Jackson entered into a courtroom in San Rafael, California, and attempted to free 3 black convicts, one of who was on trial for assaulting a guard. He armed the convicts and took 5 hostages, including the assistant direct authority and the judge. Still dressed in his robes, he died a few minutes later in a hail of bullets outside a rented van that was being used for the getaway. We're taking over, he said. At 17, Jonathan had already come to the conclusion that the only way that could confirm his sense of justice was at the point of a gun. His experience of life in the Americans had convinced him that the only way he could be heard was by the act of suicidal daring. You can take our pictures. We are the revolutionary. With these words, he announced to the world that he was just not a criminal, because he had no longer recognized the legitimacy of white law. What George say in after the incident of his young brother, deceased, George states, "I haven't shed one tear. I'm too proud of that. A beautiful man-child with a submachine gun. He knew how to be with people. I love Jonathan, but his death only sharpened my fighting spirit. I am proud just to have known that he was of my flesh and my blood. He was flesh of my flesh and blood of my blood." So this is a quote of what George Jackson said after the story of his brother. The news conference 3 days after, George said, "I love that boy. I was the first to stand him up in his crib. Not a crib really. All we had was a box. I taught him how to walk. I wanted to teach him how to fly. I think of him now as I think of Che Guevara." So this is the quotes that he said after him finding out that his brother attempted to release him and died. And this is episode 1. Nearly the end of the episode 1. Let me go a little bit more, because I'm going to highlight this book. Yeah. Let me carry on what he says though, because it's deep. Everything is deep. It's like I have to read the whole book to it, brother. You get it? That's how mad it is, yeah. So this book is about George's book speaks with the voice of the dead. Not only the dead of George Jackson and his brother Jonathan, but the living dead in all of the jails and the ghettos of this country. It speaks with the voice of the men who have really given themselves up for dead. and who have nothing left to give except death for the people. Revolutionary, powerful quote, yeah? All about his people, yeah? Another, we're gonna go a little bit more. So the book goes on to say, the fact that the author of this book, which is George Jackson, lived through his death for so many years, give his book a kind of special importance, but it would be a mistake to consider it simply as the work of an individual. Get it? George always refused to consider himself an individual. Untold thousands, both inside and outside prison joints, in the proclamation of total revolutionary war. He never considered himself as an individual. Powerful. Yeah, one of his quotes. Yeah, this is probably to the youth, to the man them 2023, bro. Sorry, brother. This is to the youth. Already, that's why I highlighted it. Because this speaks phantoms, you get it? So, his message to the revolutionary brothers was crystal clear. Crystal clear. Well, let me just finish before the quote. It is a book about taking the revolution that George worked and died for in prison out into the society at large. His message to his revolutionary brothers is crystal clear. Settle your quarrels. Come together. Understand the reality of our situation. Understand that fascism, far right, yeah, far right movement, is already here. Fascism is like the far right Hitler type movement, yeah, is already here. That people are already dying who could be saved. That generation more will die or live poor, butchered, half-lives if you fail to act. Do what must be done. Discover your humanity and your love in revolution. Pass the torch. Join us. Give up your life for the people.
3 weeks ago, on August the 21st, at San Quentin prison, George Jackson was killed, 2 days before his trial was finally due to begin. This is what the prison authorities say happened on that day. Stephen Bingham, a radical young attorney, came to visit Jackson and passed through a metal detector like this, which bleeped. His briefcase was searched and found to contain a tape recorder. Hidden inside it, say the authorities, was a gun like this. Bingham was also alleged to have smuggled in an afro wig, under which Jackson was to hide the gun to get it back to his cell. Jackson then walked through this door, so the authorities say, across the front courtyard of the prison and back to his cell in this block. Exactly what happened inside that block in the next 20 minutes, only a few people know, and most of them are dead. What we do know is that 25 prisoners were released. Then 3 white guards and 2 white inmates were killed. 2 of them had bullet wounds. All of them had their throats cut, with a razor blade embedded in a toothbrush. The alarm was sounded. Jackson ran out of the block and back across the courtyard, gun in hand. The authorities say he was shot twice, in the legs and through the head. He fell here and died, making for this wall 50 yards away and 25 feet high.